The Grammys are fast approaching, but not every musician is welcome to attend. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and these are 10 celebrities who are not invited to the 2024 Grammy ceremony. Number 10, Morgan Wallen. Morgan Wallen was making it big before a big misstep in 2020 landed him in handcuffs. According to fellow musician Kid Rock, Wallen was arrested outside of his establishment in Nashville, Tennessee for having just a bit too much no-no juice and getting into a physical altercation. While being taken out of the building, he was breaking glasses and shouting really harsh words not worth repeating. That wasn't the only thing he did that landed him in hot water though in 2020, because as many people should know, 2020 was the year that we kinda skipped being told to stay in our homes and whatnot, but much like many rich people out there, Morgan decided to ignore the orders and just do his own thing. He was photographed having a wonderful time with some friends without a care in the world. Now while he really should have cared, because following week he was supposed to perform on Saturday Night Live, but he was asked not to attend. Final nail that saw him cancelled from attending most award shows, including the Grammys, was a video that surfaced of him using racial slurs. The video went viral and his career quickly came to a pause. His music was pulled from radio stations and he was dropped from his record label while they figured out the best way to handle the situation. Eventually he issued an apology, but it was not enough to get his name removed from the no-no list. Number 9, DaBaby. The rapper formerly known as Baby Jesus, which is a true fact, has always had a bad boy streak in the music industry. He's known for dropping some pretty choice expletives on stage at all times and even makes fun of his fans right to their faces, which is so much fun. This unfortunately culminated in him deciding that it was appropriate to joke about a certain disease that is unnecessarily linked to the gay community. On stage, he told his fans that if you didn't show up with it or any other gnarly STIs, then please put your cell phones in the air. In fact, he said a lot of really weird stuff before telling people to put their phones in the air like he was playing a game of Guess Who. Of course, he was torn to shreds by the LGBTQ+ community, including icons like Elton John, Madonna, and one of his collaborators, Dua Lipa. Not only was he cancelled by fans, but he was actually set to release a clothing line with fashion brand Boohoo Man, but they backed out following the public outcry. To top it all off, two of his biggest performances set to take place at Lollapalooza and a concert in Atlanta were cancelled amid the flurry of complaint calls and emails that the venue had been receiving. The Grammys will probably leave his name off of their guest list this year. Number 8, Milli Vanilli. The story of Milli Vanilli's downfall will eventually be a part of every single music history book as an example of people who just really didn't need to be famous. The only reason that they got their fame was by stealing music from other people. Rob Pilatus and Fab Morvan were quickly rising to the top of the music charts in the 80s and 90s, even receiving a Grammy Award for Best New Artist. They were headlining arena shows, doing interviews, people just really loved these guys. Until one day during a concert, their track that they had been lip-syncing to started to skip. The pair are confused on stage for a moment and then just run off, but that moment was 1,000 moments long. These two just plummeted in terms of recognition and appreciation. They were forced to give their Grammy back and had to admit to the public that they had been lip-syncing the entire time. Their producer held a press conference to confirm the situation and revealed that the real musicians were a session band. The real voices behind Milli Vanilli, Brad Howell and John Davis, finally got the credit that they deserved. After the scandal, Milli Vanilli tried to create another album using their own voices, but it was just not the same. In fact, Rob Pilatus passed away the night before the group were supposed to start a promotional tour for their new album. The album exists, but it's never been released. They were banned from appearing on the Grammy stage for 10 years, but seeing as the crew no longer exists, that ban might have just been extended to indefinitely. Number 7, The Weeknd. A while back, The Weeknd actually decided to boycott the Grammys entirely from now on, following his highly controversial shutout from the 2021 ceremony. The Weeknd thought that he was a strong contender in the big 4 categories, Album of the Year especially. His LP After Hours spent 4 consecutive weeks at number 1 on the Billboard's 200, but when the Grammys announced their nominations in 2020, The Weeknd was nowhere to be seen. He tweeted that the Grammys were corrupt. Many industry professionals came to his defense and actually agreed with him. People like Kid Cudi and Scooter Braun backed up his statements, and The Weeknd elaborated more in his opinion on the Grammys. In 63 years of the Grammys, only 10 black artists have won an Album of the Year. The Weeknd, who's already a 3-time Grammy winner himself, so when he was not nominated for this LP, he felt that he had been sucker punched, according to himself. Despite the snub in 2021, he was nominated in 2022 and earlier this year as well. He may return for the Grammys this year, or he might continue his personal boycott until the end of time. Probably that second one. Number 6, Cee Lo Green. He saw us driving around town with the girl he loves and he was like an actual monster on the planet Earth. Like, he sucks. When I was growing up, I actually really liked his music. music, F You was my anthem, but little did I know that in 2014 this man would turn out to be just a terrible, terrible person. Cee Lo was brought into a court case after a woman alleged that he spiked her drink in 2012. According to Cee Lo, he pleaded no contest to the accusations of supplying X to a woman who claims that she does not remember anything between eating sushi with Cee Lo to waking up in his house the next day. Cee Lo just posted a really questionable statement that I'm not going to repeat because it's actually disgusting. He was basically arguing why what he did wasn't really what he did, but it was. He later apologized for his comments and eventually shut down his Twitter account. Since then, Cee Lo has been blacklisted from Hollywood, and considering he's barely made any music since, the Grammys will not be inviting him to attend or nominate him for anything anytime soon. Number 5. Drake. Drake is a Canadian treasure and was a very vocal supporter of The Weeknd when he was snubbed in 2021. He actually made sure that everyone knew that he doesn't actually care for the Grammys and doesn't believe that the awards show, which was once the highest form of recognition, has remained relevant to the artists who are thought to be deserving of it. He wrote on Instagram that he thinks we should stop allowing ourselves to be shocked every year by the disconnect between impactful music and these awards, and just accept that what was once the highest form of recognition may no longer matter to the artists that exist now and the ones that will come after. He encouraged fans, saying that now is the time to try something new and that you can build it up over time and pass it along to the next generation. Drake has been nominated for a few awards in his career and has won 4 Grammys in various categories, but Drake is more than likely welcome to attend the ceremony, but if they snub The Weeknd again, he might just chill with him instead. Sounds like a fun time, wonder what they get up to. Number 4. Zayn Malik. The former One Direction boy band member fired off at the Recording Academy 5 days before the 2021 Grammy Awards with an F the Grammys tweet. He expressed his frustration over the voting process and the lack of transparency behind it, as well as the lack of inclusion of different kinds of artists in a space that allows favoritism, racism, and networking politics to influence the voting process. You might say he went off a little bit, but he later claimed that his message was not personal or about his own eligibility. He claimed that the company was moving in inches when they really needed to be moving in miles. He said he was keeping pressure on and fighting the transparency and inclusion. He wanted us to make sure that we were honoring and celebrating the artists that actually deserve it. Creative excellence is key. End the secret committees. Until then, F the Grammys. That's what he said online. So when someone tells an entire award show to go, F themselves, you can imagine that it's not a fun time for the people receiving that F, so it's probably not coming this year. Number 3, Britney Spears. Now, Britney Spears was finally released from her conservatorship in 2021 and has since been on a new journey of self-realization and expression. In the past year or two, Britney has been involved with a ton of TV moments, usually interviews, but she recently released a memoir detailing her life experiences. She revealed a lot of juicy information about herself and her family and her relationships, but we have done dedicated videos on that, so if you want to see that and you're curious, go back and check them out. As we are well aware, Hollywood loves to take books, whether fiction or non-fiction, and make them a movie as long as it's a good story. Well, Britney's memoir might be one of those books, but considering her behavior on TikTok, especially in the past couple of months, something tells me that that won't be happening anytime soon. For those of you who don't know, a series of videos were posted on Britney's TikTok where she seems to be dancing with stabby jabby things and told everyone that they were fake. Fake or real? Someone please check on Britney. In consideration of that, Britney was not issued a ban from the ceremony, but security is on high alert, and if she shows up, they will be checking her bags. Number 2, Justin Timberlake. Speaking of Britney Spears, one of the most discussed sections of her book, The Woman in Me, is of course the revelation of what actually happened between herself and her Mickey Mouse Club co-star, Justin Timberlake. After meeting JT in the clubhouse, they sparked a romantic connection, and their connection was strong, but unfortunately, Britney had to make a difficult decision in 2000 after she found out she was pregnant. At first, Britney was actually excited about the entire thing. In her book, she revealed that she had planned on starting a family with Justin, but this was just going to be sooner than they expected. It turns out that Justin wasn't excited and told her that they were both too young, continuing to remind her that their careers would also need to be put on pause. The revelation might be part of the reason why Justin was so nervous leading up to the book's release, and Britney revealed that if the decision had been solely left to her, that she would have gone through with it and she would be a mom right now. Justin's reputation has been called into question a lot since the book was released, and he's actually spent a lot of time trying to, take care of damage control, so far things aren't looking great for Justin. But considering the controversy surrounding him right now, we can't imagine he's going to be invited to the Grammy ceremony at any point soon. Imagine if he was a presenter. That'd be awkward. And at number 1, Kanye. There are so many reasons that this guy is banned from being in any awards show ever for the rest of his life. We could chalk it up to him being a cuckoo. After all, he was fired from basically every company he worked for when he posted some pretty bad tweets that I can't get into. But the reality is that Kanye was banned in the mid-2010s because he did following several public mishaps, as well as one on stage that we still talk about today. One incident took place in 2009 when Taylor Swift was trying to accept her award for Best Female Artist, and Kanye just went on the stage, took the mic from her hand, and he was like, "Hey, I'll give this back in a second, but first of all, Beyonce had a great music video, guys, the best of all time." And then he kind of stood there for a sec. Taylor still jokes about that incident today, because while she was on her Eras tour in Mexico City, she took the stage to play her piano, and the crowd started chanting her name, and she was like, "Man, it's so nice to have your name interrupted by a chanting crowd. It's the best way to be interrupted. She should know." Kanye was issued a ban for the following year of the VMAs, but he has since received a lifetime ban from every other ceremony and will only be watching the Grammys from a seedy internet website. Those are celebrities banned from the Grammys in 2024. Who do you think will get snubbed at this year's ceremony? Let us know down below in the comments. If you enjoy the video, leave a like, and please follow our channel for more celebrity content every day. Thanks, and we will see you next time.